following is a Comfortably Zoned Radio Network production.
New York Yankee baseball, past, present, and future. I have one of the originators of the show right here, Wayne Unger. I'm Ralph Tyko, Comfortably Zoned Radio Network. How are you, Wayne?
I'm doing good, Ralph. Pleasure to be here.
Well, I just wanted to celebrate the opening of spring training with you and find out your gut feeling. Nothing more. It's really early. The first few games have been played. I just want to know what your gut feeling is about 2018, right off the top of your head.
My gut feeling. My gut feeling is very good. Okay? Good chemistry, good atmosphere, good vibes coming from the Yankee camp. Offenses, I expect it to be good. Aaron Judge, of course, still recovering from an injury, but I think he was supposed to actually maybe play today.
Did they downplay that injury when it happened? It's almost like they glossed it over. I didn't realize it was as serious as it was. I thought he'd be ready for spring training right from the get-go. And do you think they may be rushing him at this point?
No, I think if anything, it's just the opposite. I don't know if they were glossing it over or if they were just being overly precautious because they had the luxury to be overly precautious.
Yeah.
It's hard to say, but I feel good about the pitching. I feel good about the young pitching, even though, a lot was made about Justice Sheffield getting banged around a little bit the other day. I mean, he pitched 1 2/3 innings. He did okay in the first inning. He got hit a little bit in the second inning. I mean, it was the kid's first time out. So
yeah.
It could have happened to a veteran pitcher. It could have happened to Max Scherzer. It could have happened to Clayton Kershaw, like first time out, second inning. It's like, they're not pitching, to win the seventh game of a postseason series. They're pitching
to get in shape and not get hurt.
Exactly, to stretch out, to work on some things. But, and Sheffield himself, he said, I rushed to the plate a little bit. I mean, it was,
yeah,
he didn't
got to get your rhythm.
And it was, like I say, it was like he was a different pitcher from the first to the second inning. So, like I say, I don't get it, but that's okay. But, bullpen is looking good. Lots of options as well. I mean, if Adam Warren or Chad Green, one of them steps up to become a starter, or a spot starter, that's good too, because there was so much, the bullpen, it was almost crowded.
I know, you're so deep. It's incredible that, you use some help with starting pitching every now and again. Making a spot starter out of these guys isn't a bad idea if you can stretch them out.
No, like I say, but I still have faith in the kids. I would love to see not only the Yankees. I would love to see like more teams in Major League Baseball, like we've mentioned it before, take that old Baltimore Orioles approach of bringing up, the minor league pitcher, the star minor league pitcher, bringing him up and making him a spot starter, long reliever / mop-up man,
Right.
Bring him up like that.
Ease him in a little bit.
They were very successful like that for years.
Yeah.
So,
what was your memories when you were a kid growing up? What did spring training signify? We both lived in same neighborhood, yeah, but cold weather. February's, March, even could be absolutely frigid. And what did it signify? You turn on the television, you're a kid, and it's an exhibition game, Fort Lauderdale or what have you. What did it bring to mind, and how is that?
Well,
go ahead.
I tell you, it's spring training back then. Don't forget, all the games are played during the day, number one. Okay? Mm-hmm. So if you did catch a spring training game, you had to be home on the weekend. Now, not out of the question, okay, considering, that it's quite possible it might have been cold out and stuff like that. But, the bottom line is we didn't really, at least me, myself, I didn't watch that much spring training.
Okay. When the players went to spring training, did you think in your head as a kid that spring, the weather's going to change soon and summer's coming? Was it an important thing in your life? Did baseball season
was it important? Coming. Well, I mean, it was nice to know that baseball season was starting, but spring training did not get the media attention. Okay,
right.
I mean, nothing actually gets. It was just such a different time. And like I say, we didn't have the media coverage. We didn't have, the TV coverage. I can turn on the TV like all day long and like catch games, man.
Right.
And at night too. Listen, I'm going to Tampa to see the Yankees play the Twins in a spring training game a week from Monday.
Nice.
It's a 6:30 game.
Yeah, that never happened in the old days. It was
exactly.
not night baseball at all. It was all.
Yes.
And the changes. I wanted to talk to you, but speaking of changes, they are throwing this out there almost as a shoot it up the flagpole, see if anybody salutes. Kind of a rule that in extra innings, they're going to take a guy and, even worse, they're going to change the batting order if you're behind in the game. In other words, it's the bottom of the 10th inning, and you're behind a run, and you have your 8th, 9th, and 1st guy up. They'll let you change the batting order to whatever you want: 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 3rd, 4th, 5th, 1st, 2nd, 3rd. What do you think? I mean, that's something that they're experimenting with, and you know how things go. They experimented with the DH back in the day.
Well, where are they going to experiment with this? In the minor leagues?
Either in the minor leagues. I think they're talking about doing it in All-Star games or whatever. It's just these rules, and it's not the first time. They recently changed the rule where you could give a guy first base if you want to walk him intentionally. You just wave him to first. Now, what does that do? Does it speed up the game, or does it take a little bit of the strategy out of it, where guys could step across the plate, hit an intentional, what was going to be, quote, an intentional walk, hit a double down the right field line, that kind of thing. Ball can get away. Can pitchers come back to the next batter and get the ball over the plate? It's the little intricacies of baseball. And I could almost understand that, and that changes a little. But if they do something like either put a runner on second or change the batting order, say they put a runner on second in extra innings. Everybody starts off with a guy on second. He scores on a base hit. Is that a clean RBI? Is that a clean run scored in the record book? At which point, you're bastardizing the entire. I mean, it's been done before, but it's getting crazy how they're bastardizing the records. How are you going to know who scored the most runs of all time if some of those runs were created falsely? You're way ahead of the game. I'm an old dinosaur. You go with the changes and what have you on a regular basis, and you adapt to changes in what's important statistically, this, that, and the other. So I'm asking you, have you had enough of the change, or can you see, well, this is changing, it's going to be that way? Can you just?
No. I mean, no. I mean, what you just suggested to me, putting a guy on second, being able to change the batting order. I mean, it's absolutely ridiculous. I tell you, for about 3 minutes, I was actually somewhat on board with the automatic intentional walk, and until I had a discussion about it with I believe it was Dan Zimborski, and I was like, you know what, Dan, you're right. I wonder if they're doing these things, if they're again, like if it's all connected with their perceived speeding up the pace of play, and
or making it exciting. All the other teams have almost an instant sudden death type thing. It started with football with the sudden death in overtime, and it goes to hockey with the shootout and stuff. I think it bastardizes.
I personally, I don't like the shootout, and I don't think the shootout in hockey is very popular. I don't like the rules, the overtime rules that they have in college football. I don't like it. It's like, these are the rules. Like, you get the toss. Well, hey, you don't get the ball first in overtime in football. Well, guess what? Then your defense has got to hold them, and that's just the way it rolls. Like, that's like that. Giving each team a fair chance to score a touchdown. I'm sorry, that's now we're going into participation trophy mode. Mm-hmm. For all intents and purposes.
Very good
point.
So, yeah, where you get showing up, you get something to put on your wall.
I don't even like the DH, and that is one thing. A lot of people whose opinion I respect in baseball, they think it should be the DH all around. I personally disagree, and I have to say a lot of these people have made some very, very compelling points, particularly, in the area where they feel as though, one, they don't want to see a pitcher get hurt running from home to first who doesn't do it on a regular basis. They don't want to see him bat, and because they have, particularly in interleague games, and me personally, I like the strategy involved, number one. And number two, if you want, have a strict AL, NL rule in all, at all levels of the minor leagues.
Well, so you got to develop, you got to have the DH in the minors, because you don't really know what team the minor leaguer will be playing on. He may be playing on a national.
Oh, no. That's incorrect.
Or is it the other way around? It should be the other way around.
No, listen. If I'm drafted and I'm playing for an American League affiliate, then guess what? I know that I'm going to be playing in the American League with a DH, and I'm only going to have X amount of games a year without a DH. But they can, you know what? They can make it, so they can like make it, they can put a percentage in there, but they really need to have these guys, coming to bat. And I think they should just do it all the time. I think they should just do a regular interleague rule. That's what I think. But of course, you know, it's never gonna happen. That's never coming back. But I don't want to lose the NL rules. But like
they
I say,
play so much in a league now that even the NL rules, if you follow an NL team, they're apt to be playing with the DH on any given night as well. And I think that makes...
Well, that's okay, but they'll do that. And they will do that in the minor leagues when they're in an AL-affiliated park.
Okay, I understand.
It would swing both ways.
Yeah. Well, here's one other thing that I don't know if this irks you is the unbalanced schedule. That the Yankees or the Mets will be playing each other an unbalanced amount of time in interleague play. Your teams that you play in your division won't be playing the same teams you play. Does that irk you?
No, because that's just, you know what, everybody plays the same amount of interleague games. So that can be, you know, to me, that's just like
but they play against different competition, and I think if you're playing in a division and you say Washington and the Mets, Washington may play Baltimore more times, or the Yankees more times. It's unbalanced, and
no, okay, but first of all, with interleague play sucks anyway. That's besides the point.
Right.
But you know what? It could be one year, one year or for a couple of years, it could be to Washington's advantage to play Baltimore, and some years it could be to the if the Yankees have a bad team, it could be to the Mets' advantage, and vice versa. I mean, you never know.
I know, but I'm talking about making
that's something.
Yeah.
That goes in cycles. In other words, you think it should be the same. In other words, you think the interleague play should be East, Central, West.
Well, actually, I don't think there should be interleague play. To me,
I understand, but if there is interleague play, are you alluding to the fact that it should be straight?
When it started, it used to be a rivalry thing. Do you remember the first few interleague?
Oh, of course.
And they've gotten, if they'd have kept it at that, and if that meant, because most rivalries are East, West, it would be nice to see what the Cubs could do against the White Sox and what have you, Central, Giants, A's, Giants, that type of thing.
But
it was working. It seemed to be working for a while.
But you would run out of. It wouldn't be balanced. Like, listen, in Florida you can have the Marlins and the Rays. In New York, you can have the Mets and the Yankees. In California, you can have the A's and the Giants.
You can have the Angels and the Dodgers, right?
So who's the Padres' rival? In Texas you got the Rangers and the Astros.
Why should, unless there's a rivalry, what's the big thing about interleague play? I thought the rivalry...
There is none.
There is none. So why can't we just leave interleague play to the teams that have rivalries? It does screw up the balance of things.
It does, and that's why they won't do it.
Okay, all right.
Okay.
But it would be more appealing if you pick up a game and you got Texas playing Washington, for instance, and you try to go, well, there is, because there is a connect in some way. Texas had a Washington team, an expansion team. But you have to stretch your mind for it. There's no natural rivalries
Right.
that should be. If you have to stretch your mind, those two teams shouldn't be playing in interleague. That's the way I look at it. But then again, I looked up in the World Series last year, and you had a National League team playing against a National League team, 1 or 2 years removed from the National League. But wow, their roots were not.
I think it's been more than 1 or 2 years. I think it's actually I think it's closer to 10 years, if I'm correct.
Oh, I don't know.
It's been a while.
I don't know.
It's definitely been at least 5. It's been a little while.
Well, time seems to fly by, and I'm not even joking about this. So it wouldn't surprise me if we're 10. I'm looking up, and I had an analogy the other day when I was a kid. My grandfather would take me to games and talk about Ty Cobb. And, wow, that was a long time ago. But it was only like 30 years before where we were sitting. If you look back now, my boyhood was 50, 60, 70 years ago, that type of thing. So yes, time does flitter, and it goes fast. So, are you in general? Are you genuinely concerned if the game is going down the tubes, the way you see things going? Can you see just 50 years from now bad things happening to baseball?
Oh,
in the direction it's going.
I tell you what, it's too far into the future to look.
Okay.
Okay. I mean, although one can hope that 50 years from now, some of these screwy ideas that have been kicked around don't really happen. That's all I can say.
Yeah. Yeah, I worry. That's all. Hey, Wayne, this is super. I appreciate it. Love chatting with you on any show on the network. Love your show. You're kind of on hiatus, Weighted Donuts, on the Comfortably Zoned Radio Network for good reason. You're doing your real estate thing. You're adjusting to your new city in Florida. And you'll get it going again, I know.
I will, and that's a promise. Weighted Donuts will be back soon.
I know it will, and Wayne doesn't leave the network because you come back and visit us on our shows. So it's always nice having you, Wayne. It's always nice chatting with you. Get a little.
Hey, it's always a pleasure.
Jackson Heights flavor. Love you, my man. We'll talk soon.
You got it, man. Have a good night.
You be well. Adios, everybody.
Bye-bye.
We'll see you next week. If you enjoy our offerings, I will.